not least of all is that I want to partner with almost everyone on the panel in some form. So my name is Ishita, and I work as the multimedia producer at Breakthrough. We're a global human rights organization. We work in India and in the United States, and our work is really to create culture change around the issue of gender-based discrimination and violence. I'll talk a little bit about stories and culture change. We create culture change predominantly using storytelling, and we use digital tools as well as do storytelling on the ground in different places to inspire people to create change in their own communities and in their homes. So I'm going to talk today about my most recent project, which is the G Word. Is it up on the screen? Yeah. That's the G Word. So the G Word is a digital storytelling project of people's experiences with gender norms, with gender-based discrimination, and gender-based violence. We invite people to submit their stories to the platform and to kind of use personal experience and personal stories to find their place in the issue. And so this is not specifically or only for women. It's also inviting men and people of all gender identities into the conversation, because when we talk about gender norms, we're all sort of affected by gender norms, and they play different roles in our lives. And research shows that gender norms are directly linked to gender-based discrimination and violence. And so in order to understand those connections, we invite people to share their stories and to explore other stories. The platform launched in December, and we have about 500 stories on there. Each of those little dots is a story. People can submit directly to the platform or from their phone. They can use video, audio, just write a story with text, use art, just a photograph. So why stories? A lot of people have talked about this. We work on culture change, and Keely spoke about how stories are transformational, and stories have been seen to be able to challenge and transform culture. Now, not all of culture needs changing, but there are a lot of aspects of it that often need transforming, especially when we talk about gender-based violence. According to the expert David Snowden, stories provide a non-intrusive, organic means of producing culture change. So some kind of ways in which we create culture change using stories on the G Word. So by sharing our stories about gender and listening to the other stories of others, we inspire ourselves and others to obviously expand and change their points of view. Through increasing an understanding of the gender norms that sort of divide us and put expectations on our lives, we can actually diminish the power that these norms have in our lives. And obviously diverse stories and experiences help us see that our experiences are very specific but also very universal, and they help create a community that can work towards change. We found that obviously with the G Word, we're creating a community of people that can share their stories and heal, especially form a community that helps them heal through some very difficult experiences. There's some there's everyday experiences on there, but there's also like really serious experiences of trauma that people share. And when we share stories and heal, we can engage multiple types of communities in transformation and build movements that move kind of past just advocacy towards culture change. Obviously, stories help us kind of forge paths towards empathy, which is a really important piece when we're talking about shifting culture. Most of all, so this platform is about sharing your experiences, but it also invites people to share their vision for the world. And so stories not only help us share our experiences, but they help us use our imagination to kind of envision a world without violence. And if we don't sort of envision this world, we can't get there. So that's a really core piece of our work is, we use storytelling to talk about all the horrible stuff that we deal with, but then we also use storytelling to envision the world we want to live in. I'm gonna just end by showing, if I have time, I'd like to show, if we can show Destiny's video. This is one of the stories on the platform. This is one of the stories we produced as a way of getting word out about the platform. There's 500 stories on there. There are a lot of deeply intersectional stories that obviously bring up a lot other than gender. They bring up race, they bring up ethnicity, nationality, religion, class, some really rich, interesting things.